What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counter Punch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Shout out to Showbiz the Adult. I was listening to one of his videos recently, and it was like boxing therapy, right? And he made a statement about fans and people are fans, and people are really against not the fighters but the fans, if not the fans, the fighters. And he mentioned something that was very interesting regarding Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. What if Tyson Fury would have said the things that Deontay Wilder said about everything, everything across the board, like, Ben Davison was a snake, or Freddie Roach was jealous, or Javon Sugar Hill didn't want him to succeed because he's American, and this, that, and the other. And a lot of those things would have happened. And I thought about that. I really thought about it. What if that was Tyson Fury? I think a lot of people would have actually backed Tyson Fury. Oh, he cheated. And you know how? The same reason how people try to say that Deontay Wilder uses metal in his fist. A lot of people talk about that, but I'm like, okay, that's there. If that's something that people are so concerned with Wilder throwing right hands or whatever and hurting people and knocking them out, and you're worried about what connects his bones together, I think you're worried about the wrong things. I think you're reaching, because if that's the case, that means you have a choice in the matter not to fight this motherfucker. So if you already know that this man had surgery and he had some kind of steel or plate or whatever in his hands, because I keep hearing that, and I got to address it, because it's like, doctors know what they're doing most of the time. Doctors have certain procedures that help benefit injured people. That's what they're there. It's a practice. They practice on people that have broken bones, sickness, illness, whatever, shotgun wounds, burns. They work on people that's like, hey, this is what we do. This is how we're going to treat this. That's how the doctor decided, hey, I want to reconstruct Deontay Wilder's hand. I think it would be better by this particular procedure versus that. Okay, so that's fine. So I don't see what the fuck has everybody got a problem with. However, I don't think you would have heard that from Fury, for the record. You know why? Because Tyson Fury had every ample opportunity to be that guy in the first fight. For one, he was robbed. For two, he felt that it was a lot of favoritism because of how the fight went. Okay, so the fight went a certain way. Deontay Wilder and himself ended up drawing. Well, also, Deontay Wilder was a guy that got the drop on Tyson Fury. It would be easy for Tyson Fury to pick that shit up and listen to a lot of people. Well, he has iron in his gloves or in his hands, and his hands are in the gloves. Like, okay, that was he knocking people out before he had the fucking shit in his hands? I mean, when did he get the surgery? How long has he had the iron shit in his hands? Okay, so he didn't have no wins out before that? Of course he did. He had a slew of them. So the point of the matter I'm trying to make is, yes, if Tyson Fury or someone on Team Tyson Fury's team created a narrative for Tyson Fury, right? And then the whole thing is, oh, well, you know what? Deontay Wilder cheated because he had iron in his hands. Look, that doesn't mean that the man can't punch. It doesn't mean that he's willfully cheating. You know, it would be different if he did that shit like a diabolical thing, like I want a body in the ring. So they put some shit in his glove, in his hands, you know, make them harder, like loaded gloves, but it's loaded fists. That's a no, totally different thing. No, Deontay Wilder just hits so damn hard, you think you feel an anvil or something metal in his hands. That's what you think, because you got hit that hard. He's made people like do the zombie dance on their back. He's did that. He knocked out Tyson Fury for seconds, as Tyson Fury admitted. The man has punching power. So please, pretty please with fucking sprinkles on top. Stop talking about Deontay Wilder's hand, okay? You know, if it was meant for it to be a cheating technique or whatever, that's way beyond me. And I'm not even going there. The doctor fixed him up. The doctor explained. It's videos that document how Wilder's hand looks, how it is. Well, he has metal rods. It don't fucking matter if he has metal rods in his hands. That means he needed it to place, to put that bone in place or whatever. But it didn't benefit him by punching. And then if it did, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? Call a man retired because he has a metal plate there? There's people that have metal plates in their head, like Edwin Valero. Nobody said shit about that. I mean, he couldn't fight over here. I'm just saying, right? So, yeah. I think if it would have been in reverse, we wouldn't have had this type of influence. But what does that mean? That means that would people wag their finger at Deontay Wilder? Some would about the fist thing, but I don't think they really would if Tyson Fury did not have any evidence. So we would be back to square one. I just thought it was interesting that Showbiz the Adult brought to the forefront, like, well, what if that was Tyson Fury that lost? What if he got beat up and knocked out and stuff like that? Would there be any excuses? And if there weren't any excuses from him, would there be any excuses from the fans and surroundings of him? So it's a lot of things you think of, and I just thought that was very interesting because a lot of people don't really turn it around and look at Wilder being the guy that was the aggressor, that beat that guy up, that, hey, oh, well, hey, this had to happen. So, see, here's the thing. You don't know until you know. Until you win or lose, you'll never know what it's like to win or lose. You know what it's like to win, but you don't know what it's like to lose. You don't know about the opposite. So that's what that is. So I feel that Wilder would get the criticism against Tyson Fury if Tyson Fury decided to go there. But again, I don't see him doing that. However, you have seen him accuse Klitschko. So it's not 100% out the ordinary, people, because he's went against guys like Vladimir Klitschko and said he did this, did that, all this, right? So, yeah, he said that happened. Like, oh, well, I had to do this, and, you know. And if Tyson Fury did do it, I hope he's a better sport than Wilder, because this is exactly what we're talking about. But it also shows people. If people want to hate on Wilder because of what? A hand injury? Sure, all the other shit he did, whatever. But at the end of the day, his hand or fist is documented. And you can't take that away. But before that, he was knocking people out. But it is interesting to know if, and only if, that would be the case of Tyson Fury accusing Deontay Wilder of cheating. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this particular video. Please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.